We should be talking about that awesome high-definition native port of Link's Awakening DX that plays great on the Steam Deck. We should be talking about Gamers Nexus identifying the issue with the Steam Deck OLED's noisy headphone jack. We should be talking about Tim Sweeney putting his foot in his mouth again when it comes to Steam Deck compatibility of Fortnite, and we should be talking about the Chiaki HDR update, not to mention a couple of games that just got even better on the Steam Deck. And we will talk about all of those things, but unfortunately, or fortunately, first we have to talk about the memes. Fine, you lot asked for it. Valve has been watching and listening closely, and they finally decided to warn you all against sniffing your Steam Deck vents, you lovable weirdos. This news came to us courtesy of Reddit user Metapod100, who had the stones to ask Valve themselves. That's right, they submitted a ticket to Valve's support team asking, is it safe to inhale the exhaust fumes from the top vent of the Steam Deck? It's somewhat of a meme to enjoy the fumes, but I think I kind of like it. And sure enough, a rep from Valve responded. Here's what they had to say. Hello, thank you for contacting Steam support. As with all electronics, it is generally not recommended you inhale the exhaust fumes on your device. While there are no safety concerns with general usage, directly inhaling the device's vent fumes should be avoided. We understand that it may be a meme, but please refrain from this behavior for the safety of your health. So yeah, that's the final word on this, right? Valve said it's not safe to inhale the exhaust fumes from your Steam Deck, and then you all just stop doing it. Nothing left to see here, right? No. From there, the Deck Gang shared some of the best vent-huffing memes I've ever seen, and okay, I know this meme has been around since literally the Steam Deck was first released, but you guys were serious, weren't you? IGN did the good work of going back and unearthing a Reddit thread from February 2022 that may have started this whole fiasco, titled simply, "Does anyone else with a Steam Deck like to smell the hot air that blows out the top of it?" There was one person that said it smelled like walking into a Blockbuster, and another that said it smelled like ripe plastic. And yeah, look, I don't know what else to say about this. This is somehow the first time I'm talking about this topic on this channel, and it may very well be my last. The memes are hilarious, but yes, please, for the love of GLaDOS and for your own safety, do not inhale the exhaust from electronics, even when those electronics are in fact the second coming of Blockbuster. With that fun out of the way, there's actually a ton of awesome Steam Deck news to get into for this week. Did you know the Steam Winter Sale is starting next week? Make sure you're ready and don't let what happened to me happen to you. Check this out. Oh no, I heard the Steam sale is starting in a week. Where's my gift card? No. What? I'm sure you've all had this problem. Your wallet's too big or too bulky, too hard to find your card. It ages poorly, or maybe you can't find your wallet. Well, Ekster fixes all of these problems. Their selection of wallets are super slim, so they're always easy to carry around. They also make it super simple to access all your cards at the press of a button. They have built-in RFID protection to keep your data safe from skimmers and scammers. And here's something that goes way underrated with Ekster. Their products are environmentally friendly. They use materials like vegan Italian leather and space-grade aluminum. Even the tracking device is solar-powered, so 2 hours in the sun equals 3 months of charge. These wallets are incredibly smart and stylish, and you can get them for up to 55% off right now using my code FANDECK. If you use my code on screen or my link in the description, once again, you will get up to 55% off. So yeah, take a look, pick one of these up, perhaps for the holidays. You will not be disappointed. Thank you, Ekster, for sponsoring this video. So one of the best games of all time just got a native port to PC, and it plays well on Steam Deck once you put in a little bit of work. But the problem is it's not going to be available for long, so definitely go grab it while it lasts. I'll explain why in a moment, but first I'm talking about Link's Awakening DX HD. This is, once again, a native PC version of the Game Boy Color Classic, and it's been upgraded with support for higher frame rates, enhanced graphics including lighting and shadows, some performance improvements, widescreen support, but really the term widescreen support does not do it justice, because the other thing you can do is actually zoom out all the way to see the entire map of the game on your screen. Personally, setting the game scale to 1 gives you a gorgeous view and still remains really easy to play as long as you can find where Link is. Now, it's not super easy to get up and running on a Steam Deck, but it's not hard either. There's a really comprehensive guide up on overkill.wtf that tells you all the steps that you need to take. If you don't want a written article, then you can watch the video from the editor of this video, High Tech Low Life. It goes over the same steps as the article does. And yeah, like I said, this is one of the best games of all time, and this might now be the best way to play it. So I'm really excited about this, but like I said, it will be going away almost certainly. So I guess I didn't say it, but it's probably clear to you by now that this is a fan-made version of Link's Awakening DX. And most of the time when you see sort of a native PC port of a game like Jak and Daxter with Open Goal, what they will do is they will ask you, the user, to supply the ROM, and from that ROM they're going to extract the assets, the actual IP that the rights holder, well, has the rights to. And unfortunately, that's not what they did with Link's Awakening DX HD. What they've done instead is package the whole thing up into this folder with the original Nintendo assets, including whole sprite sheets. So certainly this is going to be a huge candidate for a cease and desist from Nintendo. Personally, I hope that they can redo this a little bit so that they can distribute the game without any of the Nintendo assets, and then you can supply the ROM that, like I said, it would extract the assets from, so that way they're not distributing actual Nintendo intellectual property. Ironically, this all comes on the heels of the producer of Tears of the Kingdom, Eiji Aonuma, saying that he thinks the traditional linear Zelda games are, quote, games of the past. This is according to a new interview with IGN, as reported by Eurogamer, where Aonuma says, "It's interesting when I hear people say I miss traditional linear Zelda, because I'm wondering, why do you want to go back to a type of gameplay where you're more limited or more restricted in the types of things or ways you can play?" And listen, no one asked for my opinion, but a young, wise philosopher once said, "Por qué no los dos?" And I've gotta say, I'm in the same boat. Breath of the Wild is great, Tears of the Kingdom is great, Link's Awakening DX is great, Twilight Princess is great, the Minish Cap is great. So yeah, maybe don't throw the cuckoo out with the water temple or something like that. But hey, that's just me. What do you all think? Definitely let me know down in the comments. Next up, I do have an update on the noisy headphone jack on the Steam Deck OLEDs. If you don't know, some proud owners of the new Steam Deck OLED have been reporting a buzzing noise. It seems especially prominent with IEM headphones. So Gamers Nexus showed multiple threads with people discussing this issue, but even you guys in the comments of my videos have pointed this out. I did report in my last video that, yeah, I have 2 pairs of IEM headphones. One is more low end and one is more mid-range, and I have 2 Steam Deck OLEDs. And yes, I was able to recreate this issue as well on both Steam Deck OLEDs with both pairs of IEMs. It seemed more prominent with the higher end version, and according to Gamers Nexus, this may be because they are more sensitive. One more thing Gamers Nexus mentioned is a community fix that showed up on Reddit, and I did see this last week, and it was something that I was tempted to share in that news video, but I think it's generally bad news to mess with grounding on the internals of an electronic device, especially if you don't know what you're doing, like I don't know what I'm doing. In any case, Valve did respond to Gamers Nexus, so that was good to hear. They said, "We are aware of an issue with some Steam Deck OLED units that will cause noise when customers connect certain headphones via the 3.5mm headphone jack. The team has identified a fix for impacted units. Customers who have this problem should contact Steam support, who will help arrange for the units to be sent in for repair." So yes, absolutely take Valve up on this. You should be sending in your unit for a repair. There's no reason to be dealing with that buzzing noise. This is absolutely something that Valve should be fixing, and thankfully they are fixing on any impacted units. Next up, I guess we should talk about Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, kind of putting his foot in his mouth again when it comes to support for the Steam Deck. So what happened here is that Epic won a really big antitrust lawsuit against Google, and really there were a lot of fascinating details that came out of that trial. We learned that Google had secret sweetheart deals with the likes of Netflix, and even Spotify was paying 0% fees on the Google Play Store. This is actually similar to Steam, where the default take that Valve gets is 30% for a game sold on their stores, but the really big companies with the really high selling games, those are the ones that get the best deals. So for the first $10 million in sales, a game maker or a publisher, they're going to be charged 30% by Valve. For all sales between $10 million and $50 million, That cut goes from 30% to 25%, and for every sale after that $50 million, Steam only takes 20%. Obviously, that's a far cry from the 10% that Netflix was being charged on Google Play and the 0% that Spotify was being charged on Google Play, but it's interesting to see those mechanics in play for the bigger companies. In any case, after Epic won that suit, Tim Sweeney, the CEO, he did an interview with The Verge, and the most interesting question he was asked to me is, why is Fortnite still not playable on the Steam Deck? The answer that Tim Sweeney provided is, and I quote, "If we only had a few more programmers, it's the Linux problem. I love Steam Deck hardware. Valve has done an amazing job there. I wish they would get to tens of millions of users, at which point it would actually make sense to support it." End quote. So yeah, a few more programmers. One of my favorite people in games media, Patrick Klepek, called this out basically immediately on Twitter. He said a hell of a thing for Tim Sweeney to say after laying off 830 people this year. Dave Oshry, the CEO of New Blood Interactive, also posted in that thread and said the rest of the statement is also dumb, lol. And yeah, this whole thing feels incredibly nonsensical. Broadly speaking, I do understand the economics of needing a broad user base to support a platform, but supporting Steam Deck isn't exactly supporting a whole new platform. Games like Apex Legends and Brawlhalla use the same anti-cheat that Fortnite uses, which by the way, Epic develops, and those games are playable on the Steam Deck. And listen, I know Brawlhalla has a huge user base, but not as huge as Fortnite, guys. What is Tim talking about? I don't know why I'm acting surprised. This is the same person that removed all the Unreal games from all the stores, so now you can't buy them. If you want to see what a real Chad looks like, then go check out Sigil 2. GamingOnLinux.com reported that John Romero has just released Sigil 2, which I think makes it the 6th episode in Doom, and he's doing this on the 30th anniversary of Doom. So yeah, this is a big celebration. I'm going to leave a link to the Gaming on Linux article in the description because he goes over how to install this on Linux and therefore Steam Deck. All right, for the next story, I actually have a bunch of small stories, maybe some quick hits, deck dabs, Steam sips. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. If you watched my last video, then you know that Chiaki was working on an HDR implementation for their PS Remote Play that is playable on the Steam Deck. Well, that HDR implementation has now landed in the main branch, so if you're using Chiaki for a deck, you should now be able to remote play those PS5 games with beautiful, gorgeous HDR on your Steam Deck OLED. I'm not going to get into the disaster that was the day before. That's not true. I will say there was a leak that was reported on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit where apparently they sold 201,000 copies of the game. And this was as of day 2. And also as of day 2, 92,000 of those 201,000 purchases, 92,000 of them were returned. Nearly half the people that bought the game asked for a refund. By the way, here's a PSA for you. Those developers, Fantastic Studios, they did do a rename on Steam. You can see it on SteamDB where they were renamed from Fantastic to 8 Points. So if you ever see a game on Steam being published by 8 Points, run away as fast as you can. One more piece of bad news is that Embracer Studios owned Free Radical and they are shutting down Free Radical. Now, I haven't been too impacted about various Embracer news one way or the other, whether it was acquiring studios or shutting them down, but this one is a big deal to me. If you don't know who Free Radical is, they are the makers of the Time Splitters franchise, and a lot of those folks that worked on the Time Splitters games, these are people that also worked on GoldenEye and Perfect Dark, and the Time Splitters franchise really carried that torch forward, and I am sad to see Free Radical go, as it means we will not be getting a new Time Splitters. Time Splitters 4 was reportedly in development, and while I was skeptical of how it was going to turn out, I am sad to see that we are no longer going to be seeing that game. I will say, however, just like Link's Awakening DX HD, there is a fan-made Time Splitters project that is being worked on. It's called Time Splitters Rewind, and it's a recreation of Time Splitters 1, 2, and 3, so that is definitely something I'm going to be looking forward to. Alright, that is enough of the bad news. Let's talk about some good news. The cult classic boomer shooter Dusk has received a full visual remaster that is available for free as free DLC that you can just download for the game. And it plays great on Steam Deck. They even have a note on their store just suggesting to use Proton 8.04 or Experimental if you want to enjoy this game on deck. Steam Deck HQ tested this game on the Steam Deck OLED. They said that it is running flawlessly at 90 Hz with around 8.5 to 9 watt battery drain in most areas, and larger ones could drop frame rate down to 75 FPS, which is still amazing, right? They also made this game fully moddable. In one of the announcement pages, they said, while Dusk has indeed been somewhat moddable and mappable for years, shout out to duskmods.com, we've always envisioned a world in which Dusk was just as moddable as Doom and the other classics that inspired us. We knew that undertaking would be massive, requiring us to basically rewrite the entire game and engine from scratch, which we have. End quote. That's pretty awesome. He goes on to say that Steam Workshop is available now, the basic SDK is available now, and there is a full Dusk development kit on the way. It's just a few weeks away, so that's really cool to hear. And one more part here that really warmed my heart was as they were reiterating that this was a massive undertaking, they said, this has been the work of primarily two of our developers. Ben Zombie Moore has been rewriting Dusk from the ground up for nearly 5 years, and David Garman Bonin has remade every single visual asset from Dusk by hand over the last 2 years, as well as creating all new ones to add to Dusk HD. And unbeknownst to them, all the profits from Dusk for the month of December 2023 will be split between David and Ben. So yeah, in a year that has been rife with layoffs in the game industry, one CEO is bucking the trend and shipping all of that revenue for the month of December to these two developers that have been working so hard on this game. It's probably a good time to note that this game is still on sale for a couple more days. So if you don't have it yet, maybe consider picking it up. It's only $6.79. And I don't think we could end on a better note than that, guys. So with that, I hope you're having a wonderful week. Deck Gang out. Goodbye.